What's up, Stripe Nation? Blake Alberts here, B&B Lawn Care. This video is a really important video to me because this is an actual issue in my business that I have not been able to figure out. A problem I haven't been able to figure out. And I think some of the information and the numbers in this video are really gonna help a lot of people out. So hope you guys enjoy. Like, I'm doing some, a huge mulch job that we do every year, but we added some rock and we added a ton of rock in the back by hand. And I think this video is going to solve a lot of my problems for sure after doing this job, and it's going to solve a lot of your problems. So guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and enjoy the video. This is actually a super important video. I kind of feel like I solved string theory. This has been a problem that I didn't know how to solve or didn't know how to think about the situation for probably the last 2-3 years, but really the last year. You guys saw last year that I was almost ready to pull the trigger on a Toro Dingo. It's about $17,000 last year and I just didn't. We had the kids coming. I just didn't know how to think things. So finally, like, I can't even tell you how much this means. That's why I'm making this video, because it means so much to me when I figured it out, and I know it will help a lot of people think through things. Most of the people like me, like you, that just love equipment, if you would give us $10,000 and say, oh, go buy a brand new Skag V ride, a brand new shiny mower, we wouldn't even hesitate. We'd be like, okay, let's go buy the new shiny mower because we love the new shiny mower. And I've been doing lawn care for so long, I know that, like, if I use it 2-3 years, I can sell it, and it only costs me about $1,500 to maybe, $1,500 a year to use, maybe $2,000 a year to use it, because then you can resell it and buy a new one or whatever. But when it comes to a big machine, and big to me is a Toro Dingo. I know to some guys an excavator or a dump truck or a skid steer is a big machine, but moving up from mowers, a big machine for me is a Toro Dingo. Those, they're like $40,000, maybe $50,000 with a bucket and a couple attachments. That is a lot bigger than a mower, which I'm used to buying. You know what I mean? So this has been something that when you get to a stage like that, when we're dealing with money, and maybe a used one, a good used one, 20 grand. I knew that I couldn't just, in my head, I couldn't wrap around just my opinion on if I should buy it. I need to look at the numbers. So I want to walk you guys through what I was walked through in an Element webinar with Mark Bradley. We laid it out, and I asked him, what in the world, how do I think about this? What should I do? And it's pretty cool what he discovered. So let me go through it with you guys. I'll talk over it and try to share my screen here. And I know it's not like a fun landscaping video, but for people that really need to think through this logically, this is a technical video for you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt. I forgot to put how many gallons a day we'll be consuming, so it didn't add in the fuel cost per hour. It's not a huge deal when we're talking about the grand scheme of things. Does it make more sense to rent or buy? Because you're gonna be paying for fuel anyways, but when you're setting up in LMN your equipment and trying to figure it out, it's just a good thing to do because it's getting your numbers all perfectly accurate of what it's gonna be. So it's not a huge deal for this video, so I'm gonna leave it in there and leave it how it is, but I wanted to remind you guys, if you saw that it said zero, the fuel cost to be $0 per hour, that is why. Mistake. Man, it was a busy week. It was a long day. It was Friday night and I made the video, so I apologize. And all right, let's get to it. So here's where we're gonna get pretty technical, and this is what literally changed my life. I have a few short little numbers on here just so I know my hours and days, because that's how we're gonna put it into this program to figure out what makes sense. So I don't want to tell you the answer just yet to see what makes sense, so I'm gonna cover that up. How many days a year if I rent that many days a year, does it make sense to purchase a dingo or just continue renting? So let me show you. So we are in Element, and I want to get you guys set up here. All set up, we're in Element. We are in the equipment cost calculator. This is gonna tell you, you put the information in. We're gonna put the purchase price of a $40,000 Toro Dingo. We're gonna finance it at 5%. We're expecting, with the amount of hours that we're gonna put on it, that we're gonna put into this scenario, which is my real life, how many hours we use these machines, we're gonna expect 10 years out of it, and it will only be worth $5,000 at the end of those 10 years, okay? Annual maintenance of $500. It's gonna include all of this in there, a total of $5,000 of maintenance throughout the 10 years. I don't wanna give you what that is first, but let's say we work 20 days a year. We use the Dingo 20 days a year. For a lot of you guys, that's nothing. For me, when we're doing mowing every single day and we're just putting in like 1 or 2 landscape jobs a week, 20 days with the springtime is a pretty good amount of using a Dingo. So that is 160 hours. If we work 8 hours a day, that would be the daily cost of $256. That doesn't make sense because I can rent a Dingo for $220 a day. So why would I want to pay $256? If that was the amount of hours that we're working, then that just doesn't make sense. The numbers don't work out. So I would continue renting the Dingos. You never have to do maintenance. You never have to do anything. But let's double that. Let's do 45 days that we can bill a customer for a Toro Dingo. We're landscaping, we're using the Dingo, we're adding a daily rate to have the Dingo on the job site, and we're billing that to the customer. That's 360 hours. Now, that daily cost for my Dingo, we're not changing the purchase price or anything. We're just changing how many hours we're working with this Dingo and how many days we can bill it to the customer. Now it's $113.92 a day. Now that makes sense, because what happens, we would put this into LMN and then it would add whatever our budget was set at and whatever profit margin we wanted. It would add in our profit margin to this, which would tell us what to bill the customer. But now we're almost half the price of what it would be to rent a Dingo. So now if we work 45 days a year with a Dingo and we can bill it for 45 days a year to a customer at our rate, which will be this plus our profit margin, now it makes more sense to purchase no matter what the purchase price is. It's already in here, the $40,000. If you just look, should I buy a Dingo at $40,000? This is the point. This is what I wanted to show you guys. And I wanted to get real technical with it because I needed to get real technical with it for it to make sense in my head. Okay? Because we get caught up on the $40,000. That's what I got caught up on. And a great quote that Mark Bradley gave was, we're not afraid of paying the labor, like people to work on the jobs and just do everything by hand, with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. But we're scared of the maybe a lease payment or a financed payment. But if you get down to the hourly, the daily rate, but based on how many hours you're going to be using this and how many days you can bill it to a customer, I mean, dude, this is literally, okay, so I wanted to show you that. But I wanted to show you what makes sense for my business of the break even, like when is it time to buy the Dingo versus rent. But that is what opened my mind. I'm like, I've been so stuck on the initial 40,000. Like I'm just looking at the 40,000, like wondering, could I do it? Should I do it? But on big purchases like this, like at the beginning of your lawn care company, you can take some advice from people and go out and work and buy a mower, and it's probably going to work out. Like, you just do honest work, do a good job for your customers, it's going to work out. But when you're doing things like this, when you're talking about a $40,000 piece of machinery, you know, you got to get down and dirty with these numbers and look at it. I mean, it literally, a daily cost of $113 versus $220. Like, I never even thought to do this, and I think that I just needed to do this. So let me get down and dirty. I want to show you guys this last bit of numbers. So the break even for me in my business is 22 and a half days. So 23 days a year. If I rent a dingo 23 days a year, it makes more sense to buy a dingo. And the other part of all of this, the part that nobody thinks about, is how many more jobs will you go bid? Or will you use the dingo on and you can charge that to the customer, charge the equipment fee? I did this job this past weekend where we did a rock border on the landscaping. I'll throw up a picture. We did 10 yards of mulch. We did 2 tons of rock, big 4 to 8 inch Missouri cobble. It's not light stuff. My back killed me those 2-3 days. So the end result of this, look at the numbers and then take these 2 key points. How many more jobs would you take on that you could have charged that equipment fee and get done, 2 or 3 times faster? And when you input all of this stuff, when you're estimating the job, you're gonna get done quicker, and you can actually make more money and charge the customers less. So you're getting more bids because you're not charging all of that labor. You're not having guys sit there for 2-3 days on a job when it should only take 1 day. And so you have that aspect where you can actually win more bids with the right equipment because you can get done quicker. It's all about time because you're paying labor. So, dude, oh my God, that's literally what made sense, because and all this came at a perfect time because we were on a 3.5 day job that could have been done in maybe 1.5 days. And all of this just kind of connected when I was in an LMN webinar and I learned this, and then I was on the job and I'm like, I see it now. We're doing everything by hand in a wheelbarrow. Dude, first off, me and my guys and I will be happier. Our backs won't hurt. Our legs won't hurt. We'll keep up kind of the morale. Everybody will be happier. The customers will be happier because we're there in less time. They're getting a cheaper price potentially with the right equipment because we're there for less time. And you're going to be able to do more jobs. You're going to be able to do 3 different jobs in 3 days instead of 1 job in 3 days like we were on. 3.5 days actually. And so, guys, you can go through and cost out what this equipment will do. That was the first part for it to make sense in my brain, but it was the part of how many jobs could I take on because I had this machine. That's where I'm like, I could get up from 22 days to 45 days, and it makes total sense to buy the dingo. So that's it, guys. I hope this helped because it blew my brain. It blew my brain that I just had no clue. I had no clue where to start. It was all like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? And I don't know. There was no way to make it sense, but the numbers don't lie. And so that's just the facts. That's just it. So go in here, man, figure out dude, if this was a $80,000 piece of equipment and you're doing different kind of work than I am, put it all in here and you can figure it out. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If this helped you out, please leave a like, subscribe, turn the bell on.